earlier, actually yesterday. I don't know about you all, but with spring happening and everything, it's just been a wild time. But want to highlight some of the things happening in our community. All right, we are now live on Facebook and delighted to have our Facebook folks join us. So let me share my screen, some words that is part of our lexicon, just like unmute and things like that, that we never really thought about before. I'm going to share. There it is. Just some pictures of things going on with the city of Kaiser. And let's start with what happened last Saturday, which was the 14th annual Kaiser Community Center cleanup. It was a wonderful event. The weather could not have been more perfect. And we had a fantastic turnout. Over the 3 days, we had about 100 people come to help with getting the Civic Center campus, which includes the community center portion, all community center and the Kaiser Heritage Building, the cultural center. That whole campus just looks spick and span. And thank you to everybody who came. The Kaiser Rotary, the Claggett Creek Watershed Council take the lead on this event every single year. Here I am with some of our great Kaiser police who showed up and worked hard, as they always do. And it's now, once is a mistake, twice is a tradition. So it's now a tradition for the police chief and our assistant city manager, Tim Wood, to be in the dumpster, helping get all the yard debris in. While we were doing the cleanup around the cultural center, I encountered not one, but two of these little God rocks. There's some people that create these little gems, and they hide them all over the community with a little verse, a beautiful little painting, and they just leave them as a lovely little thing to find and brighten your day. So to the folks who did that, thank you. I found two of them and left them for the next person to find. Here I am with Betty Hart, who's on the program today from Kaiser Rotary and the Kaiser Fire District, Adam Brown, our city manager, and Jen Palinuk from the Salem Leadership Foundation. Here's one of the families that volunteered. This is for everybody in the community, and I love seeing parents bring their children to learn about pride, spirit, and volunteerism in action. Speaking of pride, spirit, and volunteerism in action, Mark Collier and City Councilor Dan Kohler, who were running the Gators and just all over the place for this great cleanup event. Here I am with the city manager. We're getting some of the leaves and everything out of those lovely barberry bushes. He's got the holders so he can pick that stuff up without skewering his hands with all the brambles. With my husband, Kevin Clark, and also Colleen Bush, both who are on the Kaiser Fire District Board, and Councilor Duran. So that was the Civic Center cleanup. So this isn't at the Civic Center. This is a picture from the Big Toy. And we are reopening the opportunity for you to purchase a ticket at the Big Toy. So when you go down there to play, you'll see that there are names carved in some of the pickets around on the fencing around the Big Toy Park. And this was something to raise funds and to commemorate the community involvement in the creation of the Big Toy. You can now do that, and we encourage you to go to our Kaiser.org and click on how you can purchase a ticket at the Big Toy. So this is also World Water Day, and we've had events going on all month. Our fantastic environmental division works hard to bring educational and family opportunities so we can learn how we are able to be good stewards of the water in our community. So the Great Raindrop Scavenger Hunt is still underway. It's a great activity through spring break, and we encourage you to go to our website, click on that QR code, and you can be part of the Great Raindrop Hunt. We also appreciate in Kaiser the high quality water that we have through the well system managed by Kaiser Public Works. Because of the cleanliness of that water we extract from the ground through our well system, we don't need to chlorinate the Kaiser water. It is wonderful and healthy for everyone. We do have some naturally occurring minerals in it, as all of you know, especially during certain times of year. But we are able to do really minimal work to produce high quality water for the people of Kaiser. Thank you to Kaiser Public Works. Want to point out this coming week, spring break week, there's so many things going on, including our monthly Kaiser Community Dinner. So on Wednesday, starting at 4:30, come on down. This is for everyone. Rotary will be hosting this wonderful dinner. So thank you to Kaiser Rotary. Again, Kaiser shows up and Kaiser Rotary does it every single time. Look forward to that, a delicious dinner and time together as community. I want to highlight that I have the opportunity to share and brag on the great city of Kaiser several times each month on local radio stations. This one on KMUZ was a particularly special one, as City Manager Adam Brown and I were able to share with our community, along with other cities in our region, about how city finances work and some of the challenges that we are facing as cities in order to make sure that every dollar that we receive is being used and kept local to provide local services. We do have some difficulties that have been created through state legislation that diverts dollars away from city and county budgets over to state programs. And we work hard to make sure that our legislators know that every dollar diverted from cities is a dollar that is not producing and are really accountable on the ground way that we do as cities. So thank you to KMUZ for helping us communicate with our community. Just as a note for folks who would like to learn more, go to kaisertv.com and click on the Long Range Planning Task Force. We had 2 evenings of very informative meetings on this information. Now, a lot of us are doing spring cleaning, and if you are encountering that you've got medications that you no longer need, the only place to dispose of them safely is through this drop-off spot. It is free. It is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at Kaiser Police. There's also going to be a drug take-back day at Dayspring Fellowship on April 20th. So if you need to dispose of medications, please make sure that you do that in a safe manner. Looks like my computer needs a charge here. So the state of the city. I'm going to shut off this for a second. The State of the City address was on March 12th. Thank you, the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this wonderful gathering so I could share with folks what is happening in the city of Kaiser. Thanks to KBZY Radio, I was able to create a recording of this that you can listen to at any time you want. And just go to this audio recording on kaisertv.com. It'll direct you to YouTube where you can listen to the State of the City address. We also had a neighborhood conversation. So following up with the State of the City address, I was able to then record or actually visit with people in our community to share what's going on, a brief recap of the State of the City, and to just have a conversation with people in the community. Thank you to all of our neighborhood associations who partner on this. This is the 2nd year, and I'm hoping that we continue this into the future. It is a great way to have a community conversation about Kaiser. So also going back to spring cleanup, we're doing a lot of work. Everybody is around our yards because Mother Nature is a very messy pruner. So this is just a reminder for folks as you are doing your yard cleanup on tree preservation and also clearances for tree canopy, especially over the right-of-way. The city has resources available to you to help you know how to care for your trees. Now, big one, the Kaiser Rapids Park. We had the groundbreaking on Thursday for the turf field project at Kaiser Rapids Park. City Manager Adam Brown made these lovely little mementos of the shovel with a tag for remembering this day. Commissioner Colin Willis was the one who brought us this project 2 years ago and said, this is a great location to provide more outdoor space for youth, adult, family, and regional recreation in our community. Thank you so much to Commissioner Willis for believing in us to be able to deliver this kind of project, and it is underway. We had about 40 or plus people who showed up for the groundbreaking, Representative Mannix, City Council, all the county commissioners, members of the community, Parks Board, Task Force. This is a wonderful signature project for Kaiser. Representative Mannix has been very supportive of Kaiser getting projects like this, and he continues to work hard for us to bring programs and projects that are practical to the community of Kaiser. Thanks to our city staff who came to help put this event on and work so hard for us every day. City reporter Melissa Bissett, our planning director Shane Witham, assistant city manager Tim Wood, and our new city attorney Joe Lindsay. Well, there's a panoramic view. Clearly, they hadn't waited for us to break ground. The ground is broken. The utilities are already run underneath, and the ground is being leveled and prepared for the turf fields to go in. There's another view of the massive size of this project, 2 turf fields plus parking, plus lighting, and then we are going to be in phase 2. We're looking to add bathrooms and paved parking and food truck cart paths. So that when you have an event, a tournament, you will be able to bring in food trucks to serve the visitors and residents of our community who are there for that. I want to highlight Jim Taylor, former city councilor. He was on the Parks Board and then representative of the council to Parks Board for many years. He was there, and just a huge shout out to Jim and his ongoing support for our parks. So this is one of the groups for groundbreaking, our city staff members, our police, and also our contractors. Benchmark Construction. They've been doing turf fields for coming up on 2 decades. And we could not have done better than to get a very experienced contractor for this project. So thank you to everybody who came. Look forward to the ribbon cutting for this sometime in August. And I'm going to wrap up with March is Women's History Month. And it was a pleasure to invite all the women who were there at the City Council meeting to join me in the proclamation for Women's History Month. These are women who make history every day. So that's kind of an update from the city, and it's a pleasure to share all that with you all. So, and all of these graphics, by the way, will be in a reel on my Facebook page, so you'll be able to get into those and watch those and share that with people. And I'm trying to remember who said was going to go next. I think it was Betty for spring break stuff. So Betty, do you want to share what's going on with the library? And I can share my screen with the graphics if you'd like.
Yes, well, spring break is already underway. And yesterday, Friday, there was a spring crafts event, but we have several things coming up this week. So so there's the spring crafts. That was yesterday. On Monday is a scavenger hunt starting at 1:30. And then Tuesday evening at 6 is a reading in Spanish for families. So it's a great opportunity for people to come. And we're really excited about this because we have received a grant from the Grand Ron Tribe to hire a part-time person for several months to reach out to the Hispanic community and provide better service to that community. And so we're looking forward to that. That is pretty exciting. So I'm also excited about the other events next week. You want to bring up the other? Okay, so there's preschool story time on Wednesday morning at 10:30. And that is actually takes place every week, as does the Tuesday evening reading in Spanish opportunity. And of course, everyone will be excited that we have Princess Story Time on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. And Princess Ariel and Princess Aurora will be there to help with that. And it's a pretty fun opportunity, I think, for everyone. And then wrapping up on Saturday next week will be a drawing class at 1:30 in the afternoon. So we're really excited to provide these opportunities for kids and families during spring break, because not everybody can go someplace. So going to the library is a great thing. I do have several things to talk about for Kaiser Fire. I probably should have looked on their Facebook page to see if there were some pictures that we could share, but I didn't do that.
Well, Betty, I did grab a couple of more things from the library page.
Okay.
This is some of the new books that have been coming in. Thank you to everybody who has been so generous with great reads. And I thought this was amazing. I read 1,000 books before kindergarten. Can we emphasize reading with our littles enough? I don't think so. And the library has done a magnificent job increasing the numbers of books available. And that little frog there is the frog cards that kids can come and they can have their own library card. If people wonder where the library is, there's the building.
Yeah. You're right. The reading for 1,000 books. And when you look how young this child is, what a great thing. And when you think about how parents read to small children like that, they usually hold them in their lap with their arm around them and the book in front of both mom or dad and the child. And it really is a wonderful experience for both the parent and the children, and the child really gets a strong positive feeling about reading. So that's great. And of course, read 5 books or 300 minutes and earn a free hamburger or cheeseburger at In-N-Out. So you can go to the library and get details on how to do that. And of course, library cards are free. So if you don't have one yet, you can go and sign up.
And I wanted to highlight this too.
Good. Yes, Mike Lowry has generously offered to help us help our patrons with printing. We have a lot of people who come to the library and they want to print off their resume, job applications, various information. And so with Mike's donation, you get the first 5 pages for free. And then other pages that you print after that are 10 cents a page. So that's a wonderful opportunity for many people who don't have the resources to go to one of the print shops, and they can come to the library. And of course, we have a number of computers there that people can sort of sign out, if you will, and use in the library, but to do whatever business you need to do that you can do online.
So thank you for letting me kind of finish up some of that with the library. There's so much going on. I want to remind everybody that the Kaiser Community Library is a community library, not a public library. And you can donate, you can volunteer, you can be involved in so many ways in this magnificent community library. And it is so much fun.
Yes, and the volunteers really enjoy their work. We do have a part-time staff person who works about 20 hours a week, not very much. But all of the people who staff the desk and help put things on the shelves or whatever is needed to be done is done almost mostly by volunteers, because we rely on that to keep our library open. And it's a great place, really. So are you ready? I want to talk, I have to brag about Kaiser Fire. Um, I think this is a really wonderful thing to think about. Kaiser Fire has more women in our agency than probably most of the other fire agencies, including some that are bigger than ours. About 20% of our workforce is women. But not only do we have a fair number of women in our uh, uh, agency, we have women in leadership positions. Uh, Promoted to battalion chief on March 1st was Rachel Brozovich, and she has been a captain and has done an excellent job and has taken on training. And I'm really excited for her to have this opportunity, and for the fire district to have her as a battalion chief. The second promotion to battalion chief starts on April 1st, and that's Christina Wilson, who has also been a captain. And she's been really helping us apply for grants for various kinds of things that we're involved in, including where we need to replace one of our fire engines before too long. And so she has applied for a grant to help with that, because as you can imagine, the cost of fire engines has gone up substantially. There are some, yeah, yes, I think we paid maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 for the one we need to replace, and it'll cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of 900,000 to replace it. So it's pretty amazing. Yes, very good. And then other promotions that are taking place both this month and next month are Andrew Alderson and Ted McClung are being promoted to captain, and then Justin Endicott has been promoted to engineer. In addition to the battalion chiefs, Brozovich and Wilson, we have other women in leadership positions. Our deputy fire marshal, Anne Marie Storms, heads up the prevention division, and Lynn Comp is our director of finance. So in my experience, it's really great to have a mix of people in positions of leadership, and having women and men heading up various aspects is really a wonderful thing. We're still looking for paramedics who will be in a single role, meaning that they'll be on the ambulance. So if you know anybody who has or is working on their paramedic license, they can apply this spring, and we'll be adding some people on July 1st. I think we're adding 2 new people on April 1st, and we're able to do this because, of course, the voters supported our levy this last fall, and our calls keep going up. Yes, very good. We received a grant in conjunction with Marion County Fire and Aumsville Fire from the Oregon State Fire Marshal to create defensible space around homes. And some people have probably received flyers already to get a review of their property if they wish. And I received one, and I'm going, well, before I did some work on my sprinkler system, my whole lawn was brown, and I had some huge arborvitae that I had taken down last year. And so, yeah, my place needed some work, and fortunately I have been able to do that. So Marion County is taking the lead, but you can find more information about that on the Kaiser Fire website. I also want to give a shout out to several Kaiser Fire staff and volunteers who participated in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society stair climb last Sunday. They raised a total of $28,266. And when you think about this, think that not only did they climb a total of 69 flights or 1,356 steps, 788 feet in elevation. They did it in full turnout gear, which means they were wearing the heavy things with the pack. And don't think I would have been able to make it the first flight, let alone 69 flights. So I'm particularly impressed with Amber Butler, who was a former Kaiser volunteer firefighter. She's been doing this for several years, and she has sort of retired from firefighting because her kids are teenagers now. But she continues to do the stair climb. So I'm very impressed with that. But the other people who participated in this event this year were Brett Kruger, Lane Gillette, Dustin Lemon, Joe Hiller, Jeff Gallagher. So I'm really impressed with the work that they have done. And last but not least, people are probably starting to think about our May pancake breakfast. Well, this year we are going to do it the same weekend as the Kaiser Parade. So it won't be on Mother's Day as it has been in the past. Our people, the people of the Kaiser Fire who do the parade, do the pancake breakfast, were interested in moving it because they didn't get to celebrate Mother's Day. As I know, many people came to the pancake breakfast. So, Mom, here, we'll go to the pancake breakfast. Happy Mother's Day, right? Anyway, but because the chamber decided to do their parade the third Saturday in May so that the bands could participate, we're sort of partnering in that weekend, and we'll be doing the pancake breakfast the following morning. So it'll make a fun weekend overall with the various activities the chamber's doing, plus the Kaiser Fire pancake breakfast. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think that wraps it up for me.
All right. So May 19th for the May breakfast.
Yes.
So on Mother's Day, y'all are on your own.
Yeah. Oh dear, let's celebrate Mother's Day a week later this year.
You know what? Every day is Mother's Day, right?
No, well, I'm not a mom, so
Well, you've made a big difference for children in our community for years. You and Mike, absolutely faithful and avid supporters of the Boys and Girls Club. You've been a parent, a mentor, and been providing for kids in our community for decades. And thank you to you and your late husband, Mike Hart, who served on the Kaiser City Council, on the Kaiser Fire Board. The two of you are the dynamic duo of making a difference for kids in our community. So thank you, Betty.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I always told people that the reason I didn't have children is that I was too busy mothering adults. So
there is some of that. I'd like to go now to Ramiro Navarro from the Chariots Board of Directors. For those of you who haven't met him, Ramiro represents our community, our district on the Chariots Board of Directors. Ramiro, thank you so much for joining us today. And I've got a couple pictures of stuff to share.
Awesome. Thank you. I just want to start off by saying, Betty, you are a motherly figure to folks in the community. And so we really appreciate that. And going to kind of some Chariots news. So I want to start off with saying that you might see some buses driving around that have a lightning bolt on the side and start thinking, what's going on over there? Well, those are our new electric buses. We are testing those to make sure that the range lasts in between stops and making sure that we're charging them appropriately and getting drivers trained on those things because the way that they drive is a little bit different than driving a traditional internal combustion engine type of vehicle. So you'll see those around. We are expanding our security camera footprint across all transit spaces. And I really appreciate this because I don't know if folks know that we partner a lot with the law enforcement in our community. So if something is going on, they can come to us and say, "Hey, can we get footage from the bus? Can we get footage from the transit district, the bus station? Can we help know what's going on?" And we gladly partner with them and make sure that they have the full story as they are working to do their jobs. With chariots, we got awarded we were recognized at the recent Middle Willamette Valley Council of Governments event for our partnership with communities, local communities. One of them was for our Youth Zero Pass, which has just exploded. It's been a great service to the community. It's been a great service to the youth. I worked at the legislature during the session, and we had youth that were coming in telling us about how they ride the trolley in Monmouth and then catch the regional bus into Salem and hop on the buses around here to be able to get back and forth. And they just really appreciated how they could get on transit and not have to worry about fumbling for cash just to be able to get to these after school programs or other events in the community. So that was really appreciated. We were also appreciated for or recognized for the trolley partnership. So we are doing the driving for those trolleys that are running back and forth between Monmouth and Independence, which is packed from what I hear. The day that I went, it wasn't as packed, but from what everybody else says is it gets pretty packed, which is crucial because um, it's not traditionally like people that don't have vehicles. These are people that are doctors. These are people that are lawyers that are riding the trolley because it's convenient and it works for them and they really appreciate it.
Well, Ramiro, I'd like to jump in a little bit. Mayor McCardle of Independence was bragging on this as well, and he and Mayor Kuntz from Monmouth are so excited with the trolley. And something you said, they absolutely agree with. And what they've seen is that the people making it to medical appointments has gone way up. People no longer have the car wouldn't start, or there was a family member need to take the car and I can't make it to my appointment. They've seen absenteeism on that drop dramatically. Also, attendance at school, because the trolley goes right by the Central High School and middle school. So students can stay after school. They can participate in clubs, sports, and activities, hop on the trolley and get home in either direction. And so just those two things alone have improved the quality of life and also opportunities for youth, for elders, for folks in the community to be able to get to where they need to in a very efficient and timely manner. So it just keeps on yielding dividends. For the one here in Salem Kaiser area, we hear the same thing from our high school. It's fantastic. And I see people waiting for the bus all the time on River Road. It is heavily used. Ridership really is going up because it's convenient, it's reliable, and it's a choice 7 days a week. So I want to really emphasize what you were saying about these programs. They have been wildly successful in providing really reliable transportation options for people in our community. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up too, because it absolutely is a social determinant of health. If you have access to transportation, you can get to your doctor's appointments. And that was another great point that was brought up, that, the providers along that route were saying, people are coming in, people are making it to their appointments, they're getting the health care that they need. So it was really awesome. So I'm proud to be a part of that team to make that happen, along with the city of Kaiser, or the city of Kaiser and city of Salem and school district help with the Youth Zero Pass. But the trolley stuff was all Independence and Monmouth. Let's see. So on on March 25th, we will be starting our community survey. So you'll see folks walking around with blue vests. There will be, feel free to go up to them and let them know that you have some opinions. Y también hablan español. So if you know folks that are Spanish speakers, they're going to be able to have access to the same service to be able to voice their concerns and figure out how to best receive service from Chariots. So Safe Routes to School is having a art contest, and one thing that I really appreciate about this partnership that Chariots is starting to develop with Safe Routes to School, as they have a mobile classroom, and so they just recently had one at Cummings Elementary, and it was Chariots pulling up with a little a mock bus stop. They pulled up, folks were able to get on the bus, the youth were, and this was fourth and fifth graders, and experience what it is to ride the bus for the first time. So when they get to middle school, excuse me, they are familiar with that process. And it also taught them like how to load and unload your bicycle on the front, how to not cross in front of a city bus because they are different than school buses, where by law you can't pass a school bus. So it protects, you know, youth being able to cross all the way across. Well, city buses don't have that. So it's really important that we make that distinction. And let's see, before we move on to the next one, I wanted to say that we have community service alerts that are on our website. So if you do ride the city bus, you'll notice that they are changes in our routes, Route 9, Route 11, and Route 19, both the bus stops and where they actually dock at the transit center, because we're doing some construction, we're improving bus stops, we're improving the transit center. And so if you are used to getting off one bus and running straight to one stop for your to switch buses, you might want to look around first and make sure that you're catching the right bus, because things are moving around. And back to the Vietnam War Memorial. So just kind of changing hats here. I am pretty involved in like veterans issues and veterans things that are going on in the community as a veteran myself. We are going to be celebrating the Vietnam War Memorial groundbreaking event coming up on the 29th. This will be at 12 p.m. on the corner of Cottage and State. So for those unfamiliar where that is at, we are located on the grounds of the Capitol, kind of on the backside of the Capitol, of State Street side, and we'll be right next to that embracing tree. We've worked really hard with the Vietnam War Memorial Association, and they were able to raise enough funds to get this project started. They still got some funds that they need to collect before they can actually secure completing their entire fundraising goal. So feel free to scan this QR code here, make a donation. Those funds will go to complete the construction of phase 1. And it's going to be a really awesome event. So I really hope that you'll show up. And the really cool thing that I appreciate about this project is that it's right across the street from the Courtney Place Veterans Home. So the YMCA just finished construction and is now accepting applications if any veterans are interested and moving in downtown. And this isn't a facility that's for necessarily for individuals that are struggling with homelessness. This can be for students. This can be for low income families. It's a really affordable place for veterans to help them be able to keep that roof over their head. And with that concludes my report.
Thank you so much for your hard work in so many different areas. Anybody watching this program, and you're probably the same way. We wear multiple hats. We volunteer. We use our professional lives in a way that has multiple benefits in the community, and Ramiro is no exception to that. So thank you so much for your report, but also ways to get involved. And I will be at the groundbreaking on this coming Friday. very much looking forward to that. What I'd like to do is turn to Pastor Dominguez to share with us what's going on in the community. And I'm going to try to bring up the reel that you shared with me earlier. See if I can get that on the screen for you. Okay.
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. And just listening to everybody sharing how each activity is contributing to a better Kaiser, a better quality of life. I'm listening to Betty talking about things for children, and Ramiro talking about transportation for young people and how it's helping not only Kaiser and Salem but Independence and uh, those different things. And it's exciting to be a part of a community that is sharing with our citizens, the people that are listening to this, that there are things that are happening in the community and that we can contribute, we can give our time to help in one of these areas. And it's just an exciting part. I just wanted to just bring before we talk a little bit about this um, reduction in gun violence in Salem and Kaiser. There's an activity that's going to be going on the I don't have any information other than what I was told. The 11th of April at McNary High School, there's going to be a Latino night, and LAC, Latin Action Committee, we're going to be contributing a donation for 15 families to provide for the food there. And I'd like to say this in Spanish so that those that maybe are listening, parents, and I'll, and this is the reason I'll give an explanation of this. Quiero avisarles a los padres que están escuchando. Va a haber una actividad el 11 de abril, se va a tratar de salud mental. Y allí les van a traer profesionales que conocen lo que es salud mental, para ayudar a sus hijos, para ayudarnos a mejor tratar con asuntos que suceden en las vidas de los jóvenes. Si tiene tiempo, por favor, vaya el 11 de abril allí a McNary High School. Allí le van a estar esperando. Just shared, it'll be a mental health night where they'll be bringing professionals in. They'll be talking about issues that young people have. And I just encourage the Spanish audience to parents, especially, to attend. That will be an interesting conversation. And yeah, and then wanted to share just a little bit about what happened on March 6th. Our community gathered at the East. We had a community conversation about reducing violence at the East Salem Community Center. There was about 200 people that showed up. Trevor Womack, our chief of police of Salem, was present, and he focused on the data. He focused on the data regarding, who's committing these crimes, who is actually perpetrating these crimes. And it's interesting that it's actually adults from the age of 18, I think, to 34. The alarming data figure was that 50% of these crimes are being committed by Latino youth, and that's alarming. I think that we can, as a community, gun violence, crime affects us all, whether we live in Kaiser, whether we live in Salem. And so we gathered from different areas of the city, and we heard a conversation about gun violence. And it was very, very well prepared. They brought in a facilitator by the name of Ken McBride, or Ben McBride, who has been instrumental in helping communities, I think 10 different cities, in conducting these community conversations about reducing violence in our cities. And it was very interesting as we were listening to Ben. He was encouraging the audience, the people, the leaders, the police department, the people of the faith community, parents, leaders that were working with young people, was encouraging us to work together with each other so that we can be able to reduce crime. Just recently, if some of you did not know, at Bush Park, there was a shooting where one young individual was shot to death, and there were two others that were injured. And we don't know too much about that, about the two that were injured, but we do know that there was one death. But in community, we all care. We all care about the loss of our young people, the tragic situations that uh, gun violence creates in our community. And the beautiful thing about community is that we all pitch in. And I believe there was a GoFundMe page for the family. I think there was about $15,000 that was raised to help that family. And one of those contributors was our superintendent of our school, Andrea Castaneda, who was one of the people that funded this family. And so here we have a picture of Mr. Hoy, who is the mayor of Salem, and he was present and he shared. I wrote some things down in my notes regarding the strategies that we were going to be talking about in the coming meetings that we will have. And it was interesting because Ben McBride was sharing with us that it's going to be a process of unity, working together, strategizing, and planning to reduce crime. It's going to take everyone doing their part. And that's why it's so important that the faith community, our schools, our police department, other leaders in different organizations, that we come together and come up with these strategies to reduce. And there's Ken McBride. He's leading, facilitating the conversation. He talked about 5 principles on how to reduce crime, and one of those was to look at the data, to look at the data, and to look at the data and come up with solutions that will help us to make our city a better place. He talked about prevention. Not to get into a lot of what he said, but basically he talked about data, talked about prevention, how we can measure progress, whether we're advancing against the crime and the violence and the guns that are being used by our young people to perpetrate these crimes against each other, collaboration, intervention. It was a very, very productive meeting for the first time. And I want to just share with those that are going to be listening. There was a very interesting conversation by one of the leaders, Marisela Lagos, who is a youth prevention coordinator with the Salem Kaiser Coalition of Equality. She stepped to the microphone during the Q&A session, and she encouraged our city, our leaders, as a mother who believes in what is being done to reduce crime in our city, and that she's completely at the disposal of the Salem Police Department and the leadership. But she encouraged our city leaders to include the Latino community in this process. Many times when meetings are being held, the meetings are in English, and yet there are people in the audience and there's one of our city councilors, Jose Gonzalez from the Salem City Counseling Group. She encouraged the leadership to have sessions where whether there's going to be an interpreter or whether there's going to be sessions where the Latino community can come and have this conversation in their language. And Ken McBride agreed with that. It's going to be everybody working together. It doesn't matter, whether you're a mom, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a community pastor. And I'm going to my call out to my community faith brothers, get involved in this community conversation and coming up with strategies and coming up with solutions. It's not going to happen overnight, but if we work together, we can change the tide. When you hear in the news that young people are getting a hold of guns and they're shooting each other, that creates fear, mistrust in the community, and we want to be a part of this solution. I want to be a part of the solution to see this reduction in shootings in our city. We want to see that, and one of the things that's going to happen is talking. And I'm gonna share this in Spanish. I'm gonna encourage the families and the parents to get involved, because much of this, what's going on, education begins at home. Quiero compartir con las familias, aquellos que nos están escuchando, padres, ustedes involúcrense. Ahorita en nuestras comunidades hay jóvenes que se están matando con pistolas, con violencia. Y yo simplemente les comparto, por favor, sea parte de la solución, de poder nosotros trabajar en armonía, trabajar juntos para poder reducir estos crímenes violentos. Para algunos que no saben, en Bush Park se mataron un joven, 2 fueron heridos, y esto tiene que parar. Y con la ayuda de ustedes, padres, nosotros podemos reducir el crimen en Kaiser y en Salem. Just a shout out to the parents, just letting them know, encouraging the parents to be a part of these community meetings. They are so, so important. And then I don't want to open a Pandora's box, but there is consideration of metal detectors at school. Our superintendent, Andrea Castaneda, has talked about that. Whether you agree with that or you don't agree with that, we're in a time where we're living where violence has come to our schools. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to talk about that, but it is a real reality. And so we really, as I say, as a pastor, we really need to pray about these things. And then just to finish up, that was a great meeting that we had on the 6th of March. There are more that are coming, and the information will get out. And the beautiful thing about working together is that we all have something to contribute. And then finishing off on a more happier note, March 31st is Easter Sunday, and it is a time of hope. I'm already getting ready for that. Getting very busy preparing for this event. The Christian community gathers and celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that he's not dead, but he's alive. And that brings hope. I think that's all. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor. And thank you for that great summary and the information that you shared. I will try to get that reel shared over for our Facebook viewers as well at the Mayor Cathy Clark page. And I would like to also note that Kaiser Police Chief Andrew Copeland was also in attendance at that meeting. I was invited. I had a schedule conflict and could not be there, but then found out that our police chief had already planned to be there, because this is not a Salem problem. It is not a particular community problem. It is our kids, our community, and it's our working together that elevates our youth and young adults to healthy, safe, prosperous futures. And I think one of the main efforts that directs our youth and young adults into those great futures is Chemeketa Community College. I have been impressed and encouraged month after month, year after year, seeing how Chemeketa is stepping up to making education, skills, and opportunities come to life for so many of our young people in our community. And Diane, you just keep bringing the good news for us, what's happening in our Chemeketa family. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I've got your slides ready to go. You just say when, and you know what? There is hope in our community in so many ways, and this is a big part of that. So Diane, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm happy to be there as we talk about Chemeketa. I don't know if everybody knows how many sites Chemeketa actually has. You probably know about the one that's on Lancaster. Obviously, that's our main campus. But we have another campus in Yamhill County. We have a site in Woodburn, a center in Woodburn that is very well attended. We have the Eola Wine Studies program. We have the business center that's downtown. And we have right in our backyard, Chemeketa Brooks Center. And the Brooks Center really fits in exactly with what we're talking, because it has, at that center, is a site for criminal justice, diesel technology, emergency medical services, fire technology, and building inspection. So if you're looking for an EMT, Betty, that's a place you might go. And if you're looking for a more secure community and people involved in that, we have 3 programs that I think are really important to talk about, and that's the criminal justice, law enforcement, and corrections right now. And like I say, it's right here in our backyard. One of the things they're offered as far as degrees, you can get a criminal justice associate of applied science degree, a corrections associate of applied science, the basic corrections certificate, law enforcement associate of applied science, and a basic law enforcement certificate, which is the certificates are 1 year. And so those are programs that are available. They're programs that have good salaries. The law enforcement graduates are starting about, I talked with the dean there, about $77,000 a year, and corrections about $55,000. And you go through the regular process if you want to enter the program of applying online, and you can complete the orientation, register for financial aid. There are background checks, obviously, if you're going into corrections, criminal justice, or law enforcement. And one of the other things is that our courses are taught by people who are currently in past criminal justice professors from Corvallis Police Department, Public Safety Standard. Kaiser Police Department has a person teaching traffic safety, sheriff's office, and so forth. And all of their programs also have advisory committees. So the curriculum is kept up to date by people who are actually in the industry. Another thing that's kind of important, if somebody has a certificate in law enforcement or something, then they will evaluate that and apply credits accordingly for that. So it's easy to get through. But as you can see, let's go on to the next slide that is dealing with corrections. And this is both a certificate program and a degree program. And generally it starts in the fall, although there are classes you can take during the year, and it's a program that you need to be on campus because there's a lot of hands-on learning for this program. What you will do with this is that these are the people who work in our jail and prison. They might be assistant parole and probation. A lot of times that requires a bachelor's degree, but guess what? You finish this associate's degree, you can get the degree in leadership and management. And then you can go on and get your master's degree at Western Oregon. So there's a pipeline in there. Casework and counseling, residential treatment center, risk and release assessment, visiting, monitoring, working in our prisons and jails. And there's a lot of hands-on experiences in the corrections program. And there is a certificate you can get and a degree. So 1 year you can get out and get working, you go on for your degree. The next one that I want to talk about is criminal justice. And this is a program, a lot of it you can get online, which is really, really nice. It's if you're working, that's it. Criminal justice could be somebody calling 911, your 911 operator, or you're in the control room of a local jail, or you're working with side-by-side supporting the functions of the police, corrections, or parole and probation officers. So what will you do? Well, you could be a 911 telecommunications. You could work in the control center within a corrections facility, case and security aids, private and public security work. You could then be in investigative fields working such as a liquor control agent, insurance adjusting. And so they're kind of all over the board. It prepares you for a lot of things. A license inspecting. So there's lots of job opportunities with the criminal justice program. And there's a crossover between all three of these. Now, if you go on to law enforcement, one of the neat things about, let's go to the next slide, with law enforcement is it's an applied science degree and allows you to balance work in your private life because it's 2 days a week. So if you're working and you need to be in class those 2 days, I've gone in there. It's kind of almost like military training in some respects because I've walked in the room and all the cadets stand up and they salute me. So it's teaching a lot of structure and things in that. We need more law enforcement. Obviously, Jose, you were talking about all the difficulties and needing to control, and again, Chemeketa is stepping up to the plate and creating people that want to help people, but also want to maintain safety in the community. This will prepare people for a police officer, a sheriff's deputy, the Oregon State Trooper, Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Marshal Service, Drug Enforcement Agency, and many, many more. And again, this is one, if they want to work up, they can get their degree in leadership and management, a bachelor's degree, and then go on. But we have such a demand right now for people in law enforcement, and the salary, as I said, is very, very good. $77,000 is a starting pay. So that's a good career here. And as I said, it's just right here in our backyard. If you've ever been to the Brooks Center, it's state of the art. They've got a lake there that you can pull a car from if you need to. They've got if you're in and if you want to find out more about it, these are two people. If you want to go into law enforcement, Michael Whitington is a Lear supervisor. If you want to go into criminal justice, corrections, see Megan. And there are the numbers in the email, or you can just go out to the Brooks Center and check it out. It's a great place. It's like I say, it's state of the art, whether you're looking at fire science, paramedic, or if you're looking at law enforcement, or the newest thing we have out there is building inspection. So there's lots of jobs right here, less than 5 miles from Kaiser, and a smaller campus. But there are jobs for people who want to serve our community and to make it safe. And that's the programs that Chemeketa has there. We also have another little brag. We have a new truck big semi truck. That's our president there. And that's Neva Hutchison, who also represents Kaiser and is the chair of the board this year. And that's the truck that we just got. But what's unique about the truck is it's an automatic. And it's a barrier sometimes for people who don't have a lot of strength to change the gears on one of the big semis. Well, now we have a new option, an automatic, and apparently the industry is going more towards automatic, which will include more people that can get jobs in there and have pass the physical requirement to drive one of these semis. In fact, our college president got in and drove that semi truck around campus. So she got an experience with that. And as I say, the salary is really good for long haul truck drivers. The program is 5 weeks. It costs about $5,000 because financial aid will not cover this. But we do have some agencies that getting people back to work will cover some of that. We have been lobbying for years to get short-term Pell Grants so that students can take some of these wonderful short-term programs to get people back into work. It almost went through last year and got out of committee, but somehow it didn't. And so we're still lobbying for this and hoping that will happen because I know one person who signed on after 5 years, 5 weeks of training at $70,000 with a bonus to sign on. So this is a really good field if you need to support your family and get a really good job. So Chemeketa has touched on everything you've been talking about, and training people to help out in our community. And like I say, we use our community to tell us what they need because we have advisory committees. And then we make sure that what we have, there are jobs out there. For example, building inspection. We had that program and disbanded it for a few years because the housing industry during COVID cut back. Well, now it's live again. So we put the program back in. But anyway, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy that we can be part of making things happen in our community.
Well, Diane, thank you. Pastor, go ahead.
If I could interject, thank you for sharing that about criminal justice. We've had some platforms here at our church regarding giving opportunities to our community with different job careers. And in criminal justice, we found out that criminal justice needs bilingual Latino people to be a part of that career, to be a part of helping in the community to reach those people that need an understanding in their own language of what's going on with the laws and so forth and so on. But I appreciate that so much, you just sharing about the criminal justice correction programs.
Cathy, I'd like to interject as well. Jose's comment about in the criminal justice system, the need for bilingual speakers. It's true in the fire service as well, because often, we might have an emergency, the worst day of somebody's life, if you will, and it's way more helpful to be able to communicate with someone in their first language. And one of our new hires is bilingual. I'm really happy for that, but we don't nearly have enough emergency response personnel, either in police or fire here in Kaiser, considering the size of our Latino community. I also want to be sure Diane is aware that Kaiser Fire does partner with Chemeketa. We have students who actually live in our fire station while they're going to school, and they have an opportunity then to go out on calls with our regular personnel. So they get a real practical experience as well. And it's very helpful because for the ones that we choose who live with us, we actually pay at least some of their costs associated with going to school. So, and some of them we hire. Some of them choose to go someplace else. Often bigger agencies look more attractive because opportunities for promotion are there, but still, the program at Chemeketa, and there are not too many students at the fire program at Chemeketa that we could use a lot more. That's for sure. Fire agencies all over the state are looking for trained personnel to come and work for them. So I really appreciate that program at Chemeketa.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's an excellent program, and we do have a close relationship with Kaiser and Salem and the area. They go out on all different kinds of calls there and train them, because as they go through the program, they get different skills. I think it's the Future Ready Oregon that we're using to train EMTs that are bilingual. Because if you're riding in an ambulance and you're trying to tell somebody what's wrong with you and nobody speaks Spanish, that's a big issue. So it saves lives by having bilingual EMTs. So
yeah, I really appreciate that. My husband and I enjoyed vacationing in Mexico a number of times, and I was always thankful that we never had to interface with the medical system, because it's hard enough to understand what's going on when they speak English, but when they speak a language you don't understand, i.e. if they're in the United States and they don't speak Spanish, then it's particularly difficult. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that there's an effort to do that, because it is so important. Even though many of our residents that have come here might speak English, still understanding the complexity of what might be going on medically with you, or whatever complex issue, is much more difficult in a second language than it is usually in your primary language. So yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you all so much. This has been an amazing conversation on what's happening in our community, how we are working together to provide opportunity, to solve problems together, and continue to innovate. It is always inspirational to me, and I hope to all of our viewers, to hear each month what is happening in our community through Coffee with Cathy. All of the video or all of the photos this month will be posted as a reel on the Mayor Cathy Clark page and available for you to download and share with our community. A huge thank you to all of my friends here, Pastor Jose Dominguez from La Luz de Valle Church and Latino Action Committee, Ramiro Navarro from the Chariots Board of Directors, Diane Watson from the Chemeketa Community College Board of Education, and Betty Hart from the Kaiser Fire District Board of Directors and the Kaiser Community Library Board of Directors. It is such an honor to serve you as the mayor of this great city of Kaiser. We hope you have a wonderful weekend and safe spring break. Join us next month on the April edition of Coffee with Cathy. Thank you all so much.